Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm using the Snarky Cats, or Snarky Cats from Tim Holtz Halloween from last year, so 2020. And I have stamped using Archival jet black ink onto some mixed media paper and then cut them out with my scan and cut. Excuse me. And I've got some distress oxide, and not oxide, that comes later, distress markers that I'm using in a variety of colours, just to get some colour onto these images. If you've got other watercolour markers, you can do the same with them. So like Stampin' Up markers or a lot of other water-based markers. Ziggs which should work, maybe. Ziggs are really good on Bristol as opposed to other papers, but try it. And I'm just using a Derwent, like an Aqua brush, which is just like a water brush. You can use a paintbrush and water as well, that'll work just fine. And I'm literally, as you can see, just slapping the colour on and then using the water brush just to move and blend that colour and those colours together. Very, very easy again, colouring, nothing too testing, shall we say. And I'm just going to grab all the images that I have got, and then I will colour them off screen because it did take a little while to do all the colouring. But I wanted to show you an idea of all the colouring, and that's the rest of them all done. All the images, sorry, is what I was supposed to try and say there. So with the Tags and Bookplates Alterations die, this is a steel rule die from forever ago, and I've used it to cut out the tags. And I'm going to use some Distress Oxide, this is where the oxides come in Mowed Lawn and Twisted Citron onto the tags, and just kind of getting a blend from sort of the lighter colour, what I think is the lighter colour at the top, to the sort of more intense colour at the bottom. They're all there's 3 tags, if you can see by the title, but they're all pretty bright, but they've still got that sort of distressed Halloweeny vintage vibe. Maybe not vintage, but more sort of grungy kind of look to it, which I love, especially for Halloween. So, and then on the next one, I've got ripe persimmon and carved pumpkin distress oxides. Again, I'm using oxides in all of them today, and again, just going in with what I think is the lighter of those 2 colours, and then blending them, going back and forth and blending. So getting the dark colour on the bottom, and then the sort of moving that into the colour from the top, and then blending with both brushes. These are just makeup brushes. They were just cheap ones from Amazon and Wilco, nothing too testing, but there are some great blending brushes out on the market specifically for ink blending for your crafty stuff. And then the next 2 colours are Wilted Violet and Seedless Preserves, and I wasn't sure how these 2 would work together, but I actually really like the combo. I think it worked out much better than I expected. The Wilted Violet's got more of a purple tone, and then the Seedless Preserves have, as you can see, is more of a pinky red tone in it, but the more I blended them together, the more they sort of worked. And I quite like it in the end. so that's them 3 done, and then just a bit of cleanup. And so for this next bit, you need a baby wipe. I have Tesco's because I live where I live, and I've squeezed almost all of the liquid in it out into just a cup that I had on my desk. And then I'm going to take, these are the set number 17 of the Tim Holtz mini layering stencils, and these are Halloween ones that I bought last year again, and finally getting to use. And I'm just dabbing the baby wipe into the stencil, and this way it picks up the ink, because again, these are oxide inks. They will react even after they've dried off a bit. They will still always react, same as distress inks. So for the next one, I'm using the sort of wordy stencil, and I'm just taking a straight baby wipe to see. So some of this was experimental. So Some of this was experimental, so forgive me. It didn't always work out. So when it was a straight baby wipe, it was almost like a messy reaction rather than sort of a more clear reaction to that stencil to drag that ink up. But I still liked it. I carried on. I thought, no, I'm not going to give up on it. So what I did was I then tried a sprayer over the top just with some water just to see, and mopped it up with a paper towel to see what that would do. And again, it still didn't, it was better, but it didn't really give me that intense sort of, well, not intense, it's not going to be intense, but that sort of look of like all the words in the background. So although I'm not expecting to read the words, it was there, it should have been there enough to, I needed it enough to create that, reaction in the background. So again, with the third one, I took most of the moisture out, and then I laid it right over the top of the stencil and just pressed everywhere the stencil was, the openings of the stencil, and that was a much better reaction. It's kind of like the first one, but just almost an easier way to do it, really. And it still reacted, which is what I loved. So I'm just sort of drying these off again, because these are oxide inks and they will react and keep reacting with water. And then once you've got a dried layer, you can then add more texture. So I added a spritz of water to add again another bit of interest and texture in the background. It's not like texture as in you can feel it, but it's sort of a visual texture, if you know what I mean. And then that was the three of them that far. Then I decided on some distress brushed corduroy ink, because brushed corduroy for me at this time of year goes with everything. And I'm using a like the foam applicator, the mini distress ink blending tool, I think that's what it's called. And again, I'm just taking the same stencil that I originally used on each of these and just going over. I wanted again just more visual texture, or more interest in the backgrounds. So the word one is probably the one where you finally get to see some of the words, and I'm just randomly putting this on. I don't do random very well, so but they turned out alright. And then the same with the bats, and it's quite amazing how the brushed corduroy to me on like the purpley one looked totally different to the color that it came out on the other two colors. Kind of, I don't know, it was just something I noticed. And around the edge of all of the cuts, I'm going to add some brushed corduroy. So I'm just showing you on one of each of these. Obviously I have enough for all three cards, tags. So now I'm going to use, I wanted more in the background still. So I've got antique linen at least, and I'm using the Tiny Text Halloween, which again is from 2020, and I'm finally using this to add some text in the background. Now all of those like words and sentiments, if you like, are all individual, so you can actually take each one apart, and I've used them on other cards already that you would have seen on my channel. You can take each one apart and then just pop it back into place and then use it as a whole background, and I think it's genius because you've got all those words that you can take out individually, sort of wording that you can use on as sentiments and whatnot, but also as a background. So clever. So just at different parts of the stamp, I'm just inking it up each time, and then that's a piece of copy paper just so I don't get ink all over my hands. Not that it bothers me, but just to save a bit more ink. And then I just sort of stamped it into that. Now I used antique linen that is more on the brown tone, so it's or creamy tone, I guess, so it didn't show up as well as say a white pigment ink, but any pigment ink is what you kind of want. So any of your oxides should work. If you've got an actual like full pigment ink, obviously oxides are a combo of pigment and dye, so it's sort of a little bit different, but it works. So anything like that would work really, really well. And then You could even heat emboss, just make sure your backgrounds are very, very dry before you do that. You could do that sort of thing and heat emboss some ink over the top. Not ink, embossing powder. And then I'm trying to just let go of the fact that things don't always have to be super perfect, super straight lined. I can't line things up very straight sometimes, so I decided that my sentiment blocks didn't have to be cut with a paper trimmer. It's also, one, super quick to do this, and two, I don't have to worry about trying to get the whole trimmer in the camera angle. So a little easier for you guys too. And then around the edges, I'm just inking up with the brushed corduroy again. Again, it's just that look that I love. So cool. So now we're going to start to put them together. So I'm just going to get I had an idea of what each one was going to look like roughly. So I'm just gathering all the bits that I need for each of the tags. I keep wanting to call them cards, but they're not cards. Now the reason I decided to do this was, one, I am so bad at actually sending out cards that I make. I have boxes of them. I just don't use them or send them, which isn't very good, but I also want to inspire you guys, hopefully, by some of the stuff that I create. So if it means that I've got a box full of cards, and that's what it is. But because I don't send them out, although I know I should really, I decided that if I have tags, and this might work for you guys as well, if I have them on as tags, one, I can pop that onto a card if I decide to use it as a card front or as a topper or whatever you want to call it, like the front of the card. You could put it on a slimline, you could put it on, whatever size card you want. And the other thing is that if I don't do that, I can just put these on like a book ring because of the hole at the top, which I won't cover up, which it looks like I'm going to. I totally forgot where I was going to put my sentiment. So just trying to figure that out. But the other thing is I can put them on a book ring, and then I can have them as inspiration for myself. So when I have days, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, when I have days or weeks where I'm completely uninspired, I've lost my mojo, I don't know, I want to craft and I want to do something, but I have no real inspiration to do something, these might help me with that, and therefore if you do the same thing, then they may help you too. So I hope that this is just another fun way that you guys could get some crafting done, but also you could keep them as like a like your own inspiration board, if you like, or inspiration tags book or something like that. And I know a lot of people do make tags just by default. That's their thing. They make tags like Tim Holtz and a lot of his creators, or what does he call? I can't remember what he calls them. his like design team, but he calls them something else. And I see a lot of them do that as well. So it's not a new idea or anything like that. I just thought it might be kind of fun to do. And like I say, because I'm so bad at handing things out and sending cards out, I thought this might be another way that I can give myself some inspiration when I need it, and then also if I need it for a card, then I've got like rings of these tags. Obviously I don't have many of these because these are the first 3 I've made. So anyway, that was a lot of waffle, sorry about that. So again, with this one, just trying to get all the pieces popped into place. They're all very similar, to be fair, but I had to use all 3 cats, so I had to make 3. I mean, it's a magic number, but I had to do 3 of them. And the sentiments just cracked me up. I absolutely love the sentiments in this. The Snarky Cats is just I don't know, there's it's snarky, and but it's hysterical, and it's so me, and it's so up my alley. So I will show you all the finished ones right at the end, so you can actually read the sentiments. But again, this was very easy watercoloring. Also, as I had a viewer request that I start to put things like all the supplies I've used below my videos. So if you look in the descriptions from now on, they should be starting to pop up there for you if you need to know or want to know what products I've used, in case you want to go and get them. I don't have any affiliate links on any of them, so it's just a list of the products that I've used and that I own. But if you need to know you want to know, where I got them from, then by all means just leave a comment on that, and I will for sure share that bit. But hopefully that will help my viewer request. So hopefully that helps as well, because got to say, sometimes it's nice to know what the products are, but to have a look at them afterwards. So just getting this last one put together, and this is probably my favorite one. One is purple. Purple's my favorite color, but I love the look on their faces, and the sentiment reads true for me. So yeah, so these are the 3 tags all done and dusted. So not only does my mind wander, sometimes it walks off completely. I so love that, because that happens to me quite a lot. And then the next one has, people think I'm shy, but I really just have no interest. And I am very shy, ironically. I am very shy, but I do sometimes just want to hide in a hole, and that's to do with other stuff. And then this one is the best one. I know the voices aren't real, but they have some great ideas. I absolutely love that, and I can totally relate. So, there you go. So I hope this was inspiring for you, and I hope you try this sort of tag idea. Like I say, it's not a new idea, but I hope you give it a whirl. So I will see you next time, guys. Bye for now.